Good morning, everyone. My name is Kimberly Kyler Lubinich, and welcome to Unity of Vancouver. We warmly welcome all faiths, all people, and all lifestyles. Unity of Vancouver is situated on the ancestral, unceded territories of the Musqueam, Squamish, and Tsleil-Waututh speaking peoples, who have lived here since time immemorial. It is here that we work, live, and learn together. Our mission at Unity is to build personal and spiritual well-being through universal spiritual teachings. Now please join me in our opening invocation. All together now. There is one presence and one power active in the universe and in my life. God the good, omnipotent. Now please rise and join us in singing, I Am the Thinker.
I am the thinker who thinks the thought that changes things that shape my life. I am the thinker who thinks the thought I have the power to change my life. If you ask me, who am I am wisdom, I am light. I am more than meets the eye. I cannot be defined. I am the thinker who thinks the thought that changes things that shape my life. I am the thinker who thinks the thought I have the power to change my life. If you ask me, what am I am beauty, I am joy, I am more than meets the eye. I cannot be defined. I am the thinker who thinks the thought that changes things that shape my life. I am the thinker who thinks the thought I have the power to change my life. I can choose to be the light and brighten someone's darkest night. I'm so much more than meets the eye. I cannot be defined. I am the thinker who thinks the thought that changes things that shape my life. I am the thinker who thinks the thought I have the power to change my life. One more time. I am the thinker who thinks the thought that changes things that shape my life. I am the thinker who thinks the thought I have the power to change my life. I have the power to change my life. I have the power to change my life.
Oh my goodness, I literally was dancing up here. Tom, thank you. I love that one. Can we encore? Is that a thing here? My goodness.
I am the thinker who thinks the thought. Go ahead. That
Thanks for fun. Wait,
do it.
I don't have this is karaoke now. Look at that.
thinks the thought I have the power to change my life.
Thank you. Woo! Karaoke night. All right. Well, thank you. We love you. Okay, so today's daily word. Now, stunning visual arts, inspirational music, a brilliant performance, these are all lovely examples of creativity, but they are no means the only ones. Creativity is the very nature of life. Whoa, did I not say that? From the most soaring, soul-inspiring instance to the mundane moments that fill daily life, creative acts abound. Creative activities are prayers in action, a continuation of divine activity in its infinite manifestations. Living is a creative act. It's the way I am in the world, the way I love, and the way I relate to all others. Understanding it in this way, I see how I am using my thoughts, feelings, and imagination to create my experiences. I bring my divine gifts to life through my creativity. Amazing. Let us make humankind in our image according to our likeness, and let this have dominion. Genesis 1:26. Wonderful. Thank you so much, Shirley. That was lovely. All right, so now, why are we all really here? We're here. I'm going to introduce Carrie. We've had her before, everyone knows. Today's talk is going to be growing your faith from 0 point to source connection. So let's get ready, our minds to receive. If you're a regular here, you know we do this by dialing in the frequency of our topic with 5 affirmations. Turning your attention to the screen, all together now. I am one with infinite energy of the universe. Every cell in my body is made of divine substance. This infinite energy animates my mind, body, and soul. This energy fuels my dreams, helping me achieve my goals. As I learn to trust the one, I attain peace. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And so it is. Okay, Reverend Carrie Hunter, back to Unity of Vancouver. Many of you already know Reverend Carrie, as she has been teaching in BC for more than 20 years. That's a lot of years. Thank you for your devotion. Carrie is the spiritual director of the Spiritual Center for Living in Victoria, and we thank them for sharing her with us today. Thank you. So please, everyone, welcome Carrie.
Good morning, everyone. Anyway, it's wonderful to be back with you today. I really miss you. You know, when I'm at home. I mean, I love my people too, but I always love coming here and speaking to you, speaking with you after the service, and just the energy that you bring with you. So, thank you so much for being here today, and for sharing that energy with one another, knowing that as you go out from this place today, that you're sharing it with the world. It's just the way that it works. It's that wonderful vibration, that frequency of love and spirit from the center of your being. So let us please stand and do our version of the Aramaic Lord's Prayer.
Holy Spirit, creator of life and all, you create a space inside us and fill it with your presence. Your goodness now prevails. Your one desire flows through ours as energy fills all forms. Give us this day our physical and spiritual nourishment. You untangle the knots of error that bind us as we also release others. We don't let appearances make us forgetful of the source. We're born free to act from our highest nature. From your presence comes the glorious harmony of life. Now these words are fertile ground from which our future grows. Amen.
And now let us go within, into that sacred silence in our hearts. as we go into meditation for a moment or two. The truth about life is the infinite love of God for all things. Each person is my brother or sister, bound to me by immortal and everlasting ties. I love all people. They dwell in my heart, and in them I surrender my heart to humanity. I surrender my heart to God, and the love of God is complete in me. I am one with all the power, knowledge, and vigor of the universe. Today I let go of fear. It's simply an illusion. I am only love, which is complete in me now. The great subconscious is ever present at the center of my being. I draw from it perfect intelligence, peace, happiness, love. I surrender all the built-up inhibitions impressed upon me by the illusions of the world. I simply refuse to accept anything but truth. Truth is always the good and the positive. I move in accord with divine intelligence. I accept the will and the love of God, which I express in laughter and joy and pleasure and service. Only the good, the great, the significant, and the constructive do I add unto myself. Nothing else is allowed into the creative depths of my being. The surging desire of each of us is to know the fulfillment of love. The way to this fulfillment is through contact with the center of consciousness and through communion with the silent dweller within. I surrender my doubts, confusion, and fears. Universal love is complete in me. I am united with God, move with God. I am serene and sure and joyful and achieving confidence, the confidence of ultimate splendor in my life. The way to this fulfillment, the significant and constructive, do I add to myself. Nothing else is allowed into the creative depths of my being. The searching desire of each of us is to know the fulfillment of love, and the way to this fulfillment is through contact with the center of consciousness, through communion with the silent dweller within. Again, through communion with the silent dweller within. I surrender my doubts, my confusion and fears. Universal love is complete in me. I am united with God, move with God. I am serene and sure, joyful and achieving, confident of ultimate splendor. I am that I am. I am that I am. I am that I am. And so it is. Amen.
sometimes come living this thing called life. Am I wise enough to make the right decisions when I'm standing at the fork in the road? Sometimes I wonder and ponder, only to realize I'm not alone, and there's nothing I have to do on my own, because I am the place where God lives, moves and breathes and has his being. I am the place where God shows up. I am the place where God lives, moves and breathes and has his being. I am the place where God shows up. Am I? Will I have enough to do the things I need to do to take care of myself? Will I have the health and mind and body to live a life of grace and wholeness? Sometimes I wonder and I ponder, only to realize I'm not alone, and there's nothing I have to do on my own, because I am the place where God lives, moves and breathes and has his being. I am the place where God shows up. I am the place where God lives, moves and breathes and has his being. I am the place where God shows up. Yes, I am the place where God lives, moves and breathes and has his being. I am the place where God shows up. Yes, I am the place where God lives, moves and breathes and has his being. I am the place where God shows up. I am the place where God lives, moves and breathes and has his being. I am the place where God shows up.
Thank you so much, Tom. That's so beautiful. I was just thinking, if we had only one affirmation every day to say, I am the place where God is, to really own that, to really understand that, to really, really feel the power in that, and know that we have that power within all the time. So my talk today, different people have a different idea about what 0 point means. And it's beyond 0 points. So I'll discuss that in a moment or two. But I have a habit. First of all, I have a home office. And so I have a habit that when I've written part of a talk, or when I'm kind of pondering more of it, I need to go to a place that's a little bit busy and a little bit noisy. I have no idea what that's about, but I think it's because if I'm at home, there's always something else to do. So I was in the lobby of a lovely hotel near Oak Beach just recently, and I was sitting in a kind of atrium there. And I was sipping on tea, and there were other people around who had taken their lunch there, out at the restaurant. And it's a very restful place, and at the same time I can hear other people speaking. And I had just received a copy of Deepak Chopra's book, The Future of God. I had received it just before leaving the house. So I opened it up and took the book with me. And I wasn't going to be using it, but it was sitting on my table. And there were a couple of older men who were sitting over near the window. And they were chatting with one another. And you know what it's like when you're doing something and then all of a sudden somebody's voice comes to you and you think, well, where did that come from? Anyway, it turns out that these two men were meeting one another in person for the first time. And one was an Anglican priest and one was a Catholic priest. And I heard that much. And then I heard one of them say, I don't believe in religion anymore. But he said, my faith has never been stronger. And the other one said, that's exactly like me. I was just saying the other day, I don't believe in religion anymore, but my faith has never been stronger. And I thought, well, come and join the club. And anyway, I continued with what I was doing, and they got up to leave, and they were walking past me, and one of the men looked down, and he looked at The Future of God, Deepak's book, and he said, oh, there's no future for him. And I said, well, there might not be any future for him, but there's a big future for it. And they looked at me, they said, it? And I pulled out a couple of business cards and handed them to them and said, come and visit. They haven't. But it was so interesting because, I mean, I must say, I've never thought about what happens to an Anglican priest retired or a Catholic priest retired. I just assumed that they would go on believing what they had always believed. And I think that, more and more are searching for the truth. And by the time they retire, they have seen enough, they have been involved enough with people and with the world itself that they start to see things and feel things in a different way. The way that we start to feel and the way that we start to think when we say, I am the place where God lives. Because we know that we're so much greater, so much bigger than we think we are. Not our ego selves. I'm talking about that power within. And so it turns out Deepak Chopra wrote that book as a rebuke to Richard Dawkins, who said that he didn't believe in anything. He said, science is everything. He said, there's no such thing as God. He said, he said, have faith in science if you're going to have faith at all. And Deepak Chopra said how absolutely terrible it would be if we were all without faith. And I remembered as I read that many years ago, probably 20 years ago, I was listening to CBC radio, and there was a scientist who was being interviewed on the radio, and he was talking about how things come together. He was talking a bit about the invisible, the quantum, but more than anything, he was just talking about things that he had discovered, that friends had discovered, and how they worked and how they would be going in one direction for maybe years, and then all of a sudden, in the midst of something, or maybe first thing in the morning or last thing at night, they would say, oh, I wonder if I switched it around and did this. And then all of a sudden, there's the great aha, everything starts to work. And the person who was interviewing him said, well, how does that happen? And he said, we don't know. He said, we know what we can see, we know, theoretically a whole lot of things. But he said, we don't really know how it works. He said, there seems to be an intelligence that is back of everything, an intelligence that we can't touch, an intelligence we don't really understand, but it's there. And I can remember standing there. I was doing something in the living room, and I went, oh my God, that's God. God is the intelligence. And it just, for me, it was so satisfying to have a scientist describe something to which I had this deep and abiding strength of feeling about what it was, the intelligence of the universe You know, what a great description for God, the source of all that is, the creator of all that is. And it just really, really clung to me. So from that point forward, whenever I thought about God, I thought about this vast intelligence that was there before everything and is always there. And we get to use it. You know, when we really get into this teaching, we get to use it. We know how to use it. And it changes our lives forever. So Deepak talked about the 0 point. Other people have. Dr. Hugh Len in Hawaii taught Ho'oponopono, and he has a book called The 0 Point. And he said that, that was the starting place for everything. Well, Deepak said that to him the 0 point was July of 1945 when the Americans tested the first atomic bomb. And he said at that point, he understood that people throughout the world lost hope. They thought, this is it. We're doomed. We're never going to survive this. And he said, this is where our faith either leaves us or comes in. And he said, it was pretty much at 0 point then. None of us were probably around at that point, so we don't remember what was going on or what people were talking about. But the thing is that there was great fear, and wherever there is great fear, it's very easy for us to lose our faith. It's easy for us to lose hope. We're certainly threatened, or feel threatened. I do anyway, in this world right now. I can't believe that there is still a war in the Ukraine. I can't believe what's happening in the Middle East. I mean, it is beyond me when maybe it's because I don't think the same way that other people do, but I can't believe that there hasn't been a ceasefire and the desire for peace. But among the people, in a war that is escalating. And the Ukraine, I mean, it's heartbreaking what goes on there, and I can't believe that. I can't believe what's been going on in the United States for many years now. But the thing is that there is always hope, and we mustn't give that up. And I'm going to get a bit political here. I don't know about unity, but in Science of Mind, we're allowed to talk about political things, but not to tell people how to vote, not ever. And I was a journalist in my first career, so I'm kind of a political junkie. I want to know what's happening everywhere all the time. And for me, the last few years have had some pretty devastating things going on. And I've been really concerned about them. And I've been really concerned about the next American election, which is now very, very, very close. And then all of a sudden, Joe Biden stepped aside and Kamala Harris became the candidate. And I watched the Democratic convention. I don't know if any of you did or not. But it was so exciting. I mean, there were all of these amazing speakers who were really well known and some who weren't. And it was thrilling, and I could feel the hope and the faith growing among the people. The excitement was absolutely electric. And then at the end of it, as people left, they were carrying forward this great hope, this great faith that there would be a better, a bigger America, a more beautiful America. And so as I listened to that and felt that, I thought, it doesn't matter who people are voting for or who they're in favor of, they have that same kind of hope, that same kind of faith, that same kind of excitement. It's not like there's a right and a wrong where I can judge or where anybody can judge. It's that there are different people with different ideas, different things that excite them. And so I thought, I didn't feel like we were at 0 point before, but I felt like we were moving into an area where everybody could have more hope, no matter what it was they were thinking about, no matter what their beliefs were. And it just felt good. And so I started questioning, how much faith do we have? And how do we make our decisions about the faith that we have? I was thinking, is it kind of like a salad? You go into a restaurant and there's a special salad. And you say to the server, I think I'd like the salad. And she said, okay, wonderful, great choice. You know how they always say, that's a great choice. And then I thought, but, I'd like the salad, but hold the cilantro. I don't really like cilantro. And I don't like arugula either, so please don't put that in. And I don't like the cranberries. They taste like raisins to me. Don't like those in a salad. And I noticed that you have a kind of creamy dressing. Would you please give me a vinaigrette? And all of a sudden, the special salad isn't so special at all. And I'm thinking, like, with our faith, is that what it's like? Do we choose a little bit of this, a little bit of that? And I'll have some of that too, but I'm not having that. Where does it come from? Instead of just saying, I believe, Spirit is within me. I believe in the power and in the presence. I have great faith. I accept it. The unity is teaching the truth. I accept what unity is teaching. I accept this as the truth with all my heart and all my soul. Or do we start picking away at it, saying, well, I think we can do this. I'm not so sure about that. I've taken some classes. Things sound a little strange. That's not what it's about. It's about us having that belief and using the techniques that we've been taught. It's an incredible place to be. And it's an important place to be. And I was thinking how we can shift things around so much in our minds, not just the salad thing, but I don't know if I've ever told you the joke about Baba. But Baba was a Baptist, and he lived in a Catholic neighborhood. And every Friday night, he would fire up the grill, and he would throw on a great big juicy steak. And the Catholics who lived nearby were so offended because they were, of course, eating fish on Friday. And they liked Baba. So they finally approached him and said, you would really love the Catholic Church. You would love being a Catholic. Come with us to church. And he said, well, okay. He said, you're my neighbors. I really, really am fond of you all. We all get along. Why not? So off he went to church with them, and he was introduced to the priest. And so at a point in the service, the priest called Baba up and sprinkled holy water on him and said, once a Baptist, now a Catholic. Welcome to our faith. And Baba was feeling really good. So anyway, home he went, and the next Friday night, Baba's firing up the grill. And the neighbors are, doing their thing with their fish, and he threw a great big steak on the grill. And they were horrified. What's he doing? He's a Catholic. And they moved closer, and he was standing, and he was waving his hands over the steak, and he said, once a big, beautiful beefsteak, now a halibut. I thought, we shift things in our minds, to make things easier for us or to make things more comfortable. But the thing is, there is a truth, and it's that truth that we need to engage in. Moving beyond 0 point, moving beyond a place of losing faith, of losing hope, and really getting into a stronger feeling of faith. We need to be growing it, growing it from the ground up and doing something every day. Remember Neil Donald Walsh in one of his books was writing about faith. And he said, imagine that you're at the bottom of a steep hill and it's winter and the hill is icy. You're in your car and you're sitting there in the car and you're thinking, boy, I sure hope I can make it up to the top of that hill. And he said, you start out and you're really light on the accelerator because you're not sure. And then you get up a little bit and you say, well, you know, I think I can. And you get up a little bit more, a little bit higher on the hill. And then all of a sudden, you're just looking around. You think, I've got this far. I know I can. And you gun it, and you're at the top. He said, you got to start at the bottom of the hill knowing you can do it. And that's what we all need to be doing with whatever it is we're creating in our lives, is getting to the place of knowing. Not hoping, not wishing, but knowing. Remember the children's book, The Little Engine That Could? I think I can, I think I can, I think. That was my favorite book when I was a little girl. And it's just so relevant if you think about it, because we know that our minds create. So it's really important. And, when I was thinking about the atomic bomb, I was thinking about when it was dropped on Nagasaki and Hiroshima. I have seen films about that were absolutely dreadful to watch. But with the Japanese people, apparently their greatest fear was that the cherry blossoms would never bloom again. I cried when I read that. And I could, because of where we live, I could understand that. Imagine having those terrible bombs going off and then wondering if ever you'll see blossoms on the trees again. And then I was thinking about springtime, and when the cherry blossoms did come out, the renewed faith, the joy. I could just imagine people dancing in the streets that there were cherry blossoms again. Again, instead of being fearful about what might happen that is terrible, let us know that the beauty and wonder of the earth and the wonder of God, the wonder of our faith is always, always with us. It's so important for us to be like that. And, feeling that total connection. For me, it's always here. You feel this great warmth in your heart, and it's universal love. And you know that you have the ability to give it to everyone, even though we sometimes don't want to. Because after all, what she did to me, or, we have these stories that we make up, blaming other people for our lives, where we don't need to blame anybody but ourselves if we're going to blame, because we are the creators. We're the ones who are doing it with our thoughts. Our thoughts are creating. And we have to remember that our thoughts are always creative, and that thoughts become things. And restore our faith. Tom and I were talking about this before the service, and I was about to launch into a story, and I'm not going to go through the whole story, it's too long. But I had a point where I went into fear and I lost my faith. And it was probably about 30 years ago. And I was at the reading of a play, and it was called The Fall of Sister Judy. And it was about nuns in a convent and a priest. And one of the nuns was very young. She came in quite late. And the Mother Superior had been there for forever. And Mother Superior was teaching, and the young nun was in the class. And the young nun got up and she said, you don't really know what you're talking about. And she said Jesus didn't exist. She went through a whole long story. She said that this story was actually invented in Egypt. And it was the god Horus. And went through this whole litany of things about, it wasn't Jesus, it was Horus who actually did these things. And at the end of the play, Sister Judy, the Mother Superior, and the priest left the convent and gave up their faith. They just, couldn't believe anything anymore. And I left really disturbed, and when I got home, I Googled Horus, and sure enough, everything that was attributed to Jesus was there. And it just shook me to my foundation, because I had always believed from the time I was 2. I had always believed. And I was really troubled for about a month. And I didn't want to believe that it was Horus. And then I was sitting one night and I was thinking about it, and I thought, just go and Google Horus and beside it scam. And I did, and it was a scam. But the thing is, just as before I went to Google it, all of a sudden, I felt this swelling in my heart, this warmth in my heart, this love. There was a knowing about something that was about to happen. And then when I read it, I was just so joyful. So our faith can be shaken. It can be shaken by events in our lives, by something somebody tells us, whatever. The thing is to sit with it. The thing is to feel the love. The thing is to just look at one another and love them and tell them that you love them. I have an elderly man in my center in Victoria. Every Sunday he comes up and he says, I love you. And he does that to everybody. And he means it. Like he's just glowing. He's 87 years old. And he can run faster than anybody in the congregation. He's remarkable. This is somebody who gets it. He actually facilitated A Course in Miracles for 24 years. But he's truly into new thought teachings in every way. So let's remember this. When we're challenged in any way at all, let us remember that we can do something about it. We have the power. We can connect with the glory of the divine, of Source, the universe, of all it is. It's a matter of allowing ourselves to clear the other stuff away. Clear away, deny that we're in some terrible place in history and it's never going to get better. It's only going to get worse because every day it's worse. I think I may have mentioned this last time I was here. I was reading that 1%, 1% of the square root of the population of the earth is, if they pray together with the same thought, it's enough to change the world. So I started doing the math and figuring out that it would be 8,000 people together praying for peace, praying world peace, that we would have peace. And I sent off a note to Home Office saying, we've got lots of ministers, we've got lots of people, let's all join in, let's get together with unity. Let's unity do this across the country as well. We in Canada, with our huge population, all we need is 8,000 people. Is there anybody who's prepared to get started with something like that? We are the changers of the world. We are the ones we've been waiting for. We are the ones that understand the power and the presence and how we can change. And let's get together and let's do it, living in divine love with one another, divine love for this planet, this beautiful planet, where we know the cherry trees are going to bloom each year. And I'll bet there isn't a cherry tree around that is sitting once the leaves have fallen saying, oh, I wonder if I'm ever going to have a leaf again. I wonder if I'm ever going to have a flower again. Blessed be that they're not sitting around thinking things like that we might sometimes think. Let's be like that. Let us just be in that divine knowing that everything is beautiful and that all good is happening now. Let us not focus on the negative. Let us just let it go. It's not necessary at all, because the more we see the beautiful, the more we're creating it. So let's do it together. And so it is.
door of faith and find the joy in everyone. Love is always free, and it's beautiful for everyone, for everyone. In the grace of God there is justice, justice so all can find peace. When you open a heart that was closed and dark, the love inside is released. Open wide the door of faith and find the joy in everyone. Love is always free, and it's beautiful for everyone, for everyone. In the grace of God there is freedom, freedom from hurt and from pain. When you heal a heart that is hurting, only the love will remain. Open wide the door of faith and find the joy in everyone. Love is always free, and it's beautiful for everyone, for everyone. In the grace of God there is wonder, wonder at all she has done. With thankful hearts we are graced and blessed. Her love has made us all one. Open wide the door of faith and find the joy in everyone. Love is always free, and it's beautiful for everyone, for everyone. Everyone, love is always free, and it's beautiful for everyone, for everyone. Open wide the door and find the joy in everyone. Love is always free, and it's beautiful for everyone, for everyone. Open wide.
Never, always a delight. Thank you so much, Tom. Thank you. And thank you so much for your talk. It was really just, we need that. Thank you so much. All right, give it up one more time for Tom. All right, and now we come to the time in our gathering where we give our thanks for our spiritual awareness of spirit and our spiritual community. We do this through our freely given love offerings. Please know that your offerings really do make a difference here. We are fully donation empowered, so thank you very much. So now let's say our offering statement all together now. Divine love flowing through me blesses and multiplies all that I am, all that I give, and all that I receive. May you be blessed with health and happiness, and know that God loves you, and so do we. If you are here in person, please drop off your donations with the ushers as you exit the sanctuary. To donate online, simply click on the donate link in your chat window, which will allow you to give via all major credit cards. If you're here in person, we also are accepting donations at our bookstore via Square. It's super easy. You click a couple buttons and boom, it's great. Okay, so once again, if you're on Zoom or YouTube, you can find the donate link in your chat window. Okay, so coming up musically on Friday, November 1st, we are pleased to present a live classic rock concert with renowned tribute band The Hits, led by none other than, drumroll, Tom Artson. Woo! This is going to be a genuine rock concert, and you'll rock out to iconic classics from the Rolling Stones to the Police to the Talking Heads. As most of you know, The Hits is truly a world-class tribute band featuring veteran musicians including Tom Artson, Nathan Aswell, Tom Porter, and Randall Stoll. Their ability to faithfully recreate rock classics is truly a joy to behold. Tickets are only $30, so make sure you get yours today. And for all of you who would like to support this event, if you could visit our Facebook page and set up your status to interested or going this event, it would be a huge help. To get to our page, just go to the event in your last email and click respond on Facebook. Easy peasy, lemon squeezy. Okay, so our next Explore Your Inner Being class will focus on calling in your ancestors. Yes, so fun, especially because it's on Halloween. I love it. Together, we will explore how we connect with and feel those who have come before us, energizing our present life with more aliveness and connection. I don't know if I could handle any more, honestly. The class will be facilitated by none other than Anne-Marie Wright, with support from the legendary Margaret McLeod and Terry Collette. Will you please stand up? Woo! Thank you, thank you. We love that. If you have any questions about this program, feel free to ask them after the service. So after much work, child minding has come together again because of the legendary Margaret. Thank you. So we do have child minding services now for ages between 3 and 10. It's beginning next Sunday, November 3rd. So if you know anyone who might want to take advantage of this beautiful service, please let them know. And thank you to all the volunteers that are going on in the background. I mean, Dee and Brian, huge thank you. We have 2 beautiful minding team members now, so I'm really excited about this program. Thank you, guys. And of course, this Tuesday, you can check out our Thriving A Course in Miracles community by attending our Course in Miracles study group live downstairs from 12:30 to 2:30. And okay, so guys, it's fall. I don't know if you've noticed, but we really need help on our Sacred Space Yard Care team, okay? Our grounds are a reflection of how much we love the world and this place. So please, we are looking for a few more hands. We only require a couple hours on a Saturday. It's already a great team, but we definitely need more people. We'll probably get together on the second Saturday of November, so if people have an idea of what we're doing. And we're doing stuff like mowing the lawn, picking up pine cones, blowing leaves, raking leaves, bagging leaves. It's actually going to be super fun, so please come. No experience needed, but please do sign up at the bookstore. There are some sheets printed out for specifics. So thank you. Okay, now, it is with great sadness that we announce the transition of longtime member Ellen Van Halderen. Ellen was a tireless volunteer with a ready and enthusiastic smile who radiated love to all. She will be missed, and deepest condolences to the family. Okay, so today's affirmation prayer chaplains You know, I went to a hockey game last night, and I was thinking how they introduce the Canucks when they come out is like how we should introduce our prayer chaplains. Like, up first we have Carol Roman. Woo! Next we have Marilyn Nori. And last but not least, we have Melba Burns. And of course, on Zoom, we have Len Santoff. He's here in spirit. So please come and have a confidential prayer. It's truly amazing. Simply just come up to the front row after the music has finished, and you'll find the chaplains here, and they'll be happy to support you in prayer or intention or whatever. There's so many things to pray for in the world. And if you're watching on Zoom, I'll show you how to participate in just a few minutes. And finally, please join us downstairs for tea, coffee, and cookies, and lovely conversation. Thank you.
And let it begin with me. Let there be peace on earth, the peace that was meant to be. God as creator, family all are we. Let us walk with each other in perfect harmony. Let peace begin with me. Let this be the moment now. With every step I take, let this be my joyous vow. To take each moment and live each moment in peace eternally. Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me.
See you next week.